Good afternoon, this is Vincent Accardi, and this video is going to be all about literacy, mathematical literacy in specific. So, ask you a couple questions. Is 4 times 12 closer to 40 or 50? How many paper clips do you think you can hold in your hand? If the restaurant bill is $119.23, how much should you leave for a tip? These are all questions that should be easily answered by anybody who is mathematically literate in the modern society. Next is a little newspaper article. Let's read it along. Yesterday, Monday, October 9th, AVRO television paid attention to an alphabetism in the Netherlands. From data collected for the transmission, it appeared that no fewer than 1 out of 25 people cannot read or write. That is, cannot read or write a shopping list, cannot follow subtitles on TV, cannot read newspapers, cannot write a letter. Just imagine, 1 out of 25 people in a country that sends helpers to developing countries in order to teach their folks reading and writing. 1 out of 25, which means 25% of our citizens. How scary is that? A publisher and a journalist wrote that and published it, and no one stopped him. 1 out of 25 is 25%. When and where is that ever true? This is the scary fact that we're dealing with right now. Although that was in 1990, not much has changed. So let's start from the very beginning. Long time ago, all these ancient civilizations and prehistoric even, they all had number systems in the general sense. What you're seeing right now is ancient Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, all of their numerical systems and their symbols for numbers. So the numbers have been around since 2000 BC. So how have we perfected it yet? Animals also have number sense, believe it or not. They have, in terms of human babies, they have very, very similar brain structure in terms of their capacity to learn and recognize numbers. So I'd like to share with you the first story about the crow and the watchtower. So a 19th century astronomer mathematician was bothered by a crow, as the story held it. So if the man entered the tower to get rid of the crow, the bird would just fly outside and wait until the man left. They tried to trick the crow. The man came back with a friend, and they both waited. One left. The crow still waited and left and waited for the other man to leave. He knew that there was two. Although he could not count the crow, he knew that there was two. The crow was not tricked until the estate owner came with 5 men. And when 5 men came and one left and another left, the crow was eventually confused and could not keep a one-to-one correspondence with how many men were there. And eventually they did get rid of that crow. But the point is, even animals with tiny, tiny brains such as the crow, they have the ability to recognize numbers. In one species, the female wasps actually grow much larger than the males. So the mother wasp will place 10 insect bodies with the female egg, but only 5 with the male egg. And she is absolutely specific and accurate every single time. How do they do it? How do they know? Is it all instinct? Do they have a primitive number sense? So the question is, how are they counting? Do they actually recognize a one-to-one correspondence? Or is it just, like I said, it's just instinct? Is it just a repetitive behavior that they know? Are they acknowledging the fact that the females grow larger so they know to give more? The idea of more is very important here. As young infants, human infants, they're one of the most primitive things they do is more. Once they learn the word more, that's it. That's all they know, and they can recognize when they need more. Cavemen are the next interesting topic here. So they obviously did not have any arithmetic. They did not know how to count. But they did know and recognize a one-to-one correspondence. So when they had some cattle or livestock, when they let them out of a gate or a fence or whatever they had, they would keep stones on the floor. So every time one sheep left, for instance, they put a stone down. When the sheep came back, they took the stone away. So they can keep track of numbers, keep track of exactly how many they have, without knowing what a number is. So essentially what we're talking about here is being quantitatively literate. In essence, being literate with numbers. So For this project, I'm clearly trying to bridge the gap between the ELA classroom of the ELA definition of literacy in terms of reading and writing. I'm trying to connect that with the mathematical component, which is equally, if not more important. So, being quantitatively literate, what we're going to call it, it means being able to apply appropriately quantitative knowledge in authentic, like real-world contexts. So, quantitative information, numbers, any kind of quantity, it's important. It's very important in today's society. It's really, there's no other way to put it. Without that, there's nothing. Without sounding too dramatic. So, the ability to apply this quantitative knowledge, this knowledge of numbers, into new or unfamiliar contexts, that's a problem here. That's what a lot of Americans are struggling with. So here, just take a look at this next image. So quickly count in each box, A, B, C, D, and E. Quickly, as fast as you can, count how many points are in each box. Ideally, this should be instant. So a person with strong number sense can recognize that each box has 5. So there's different strategies for finding out, but the idea here is that it should be very, very quick. So the U.S. Department of Education's National Center for Education Statistics, NCES, they released initial results last year about adult skills in literacy and mathematics, revealing that Americans rank 21st in numeracy and are tied for 15th overall in literacy among adults in the top 23 advanced economies. American adults also score below the average in both numeracy and literacy for all respondents in all 23 advanced economies. Quick side note, Japan and Finland ranked 1st and 2nd in both, and unfortunately Italy and Spain took the bottom 2 spots in both. In the classroom, we need to try and attempt to bridge the gap between just fluency with skills and a more conceptual understanding that relates directly to literacy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned a couple interesting facts about insects, caveman, the crow and the watchtower, and hopefully it kind of all pieced together nicely. Either way, thank you again. Take care.